Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of Psilocybin Says. I'm Courtney Rose.
Hey y'all, I'm Eric Osborne.
I'm just trying to, get on your level.
No, you say y'all on your own, girl. I heard it many times.
Lots. Yeah, that's my Murfreesboro culture coming out. So,
oh yeah, like Louisville is so freaking cosmopolitan.
I didn't get my y'all from going
Louisville?
to school in downtown Louisville. I'm just saying.
All right.
So, in this episode, we're talking about having more fun.
Why are we talking about having more fun? Yeah, y'all. Yeehaw, y'all.
No. I'm having more fun. What?
You got shoes off? You got shoes off? Yep. Barefoot. Are you pregnant?
No, I'm not.
It's a Kentucky Christmas.
Yeah, so no, we don't mean going in the alleys and smoking crack for fun.
What? Okay, I'm learning some new stuff about Courtney right here, right now.
I don't know what distorted perception of fun
Yeah.
y'all have, but it's not that for us.
Yeah, I think she's referring to the fact that there have been some folks who have suggested that having fun or seeking enjoyment is grasping, is attachment, is the root of suffering. And we don't think so. We think that enjoying life is not attaching. We think that enjoying life is going with the flow, is having a perspective of curiosity and openness and spontaneity and productivity and connectivity. And, there's lots of ways to have fun that don't involve smoking dick for crack or whatever.
Prostituting yourself.
Prostituting yourself for drugs. Oh, where the fuck my wife's coming at right now? Oh, I know.
It's just the way that people stop that.
Mm-hmm.
That's not why.
It's okay. Have more fun.
I'm laughing at the intensity and resistance that as a culture we have towards having fun. And we dive into that in this episode. So I'm really curious on your thoughts. We are doing a new thing. If you're watching on YouTube, and if you're not watching on YouTube, seriously, get on YouTube and watch us go.
Yeah.
We are doing a new thing where we're breaking down the episodes and chapters. So make sure you check that out in the show notes, because if there's ever a topic we're hitting on and you're like, I'm not really feeling this, you can skip ahead to another topic. So definitely check out the chapters in the show notes.
I find that valuable when I watch YouTube videos, because even like some of my favorite content creators are like, there's stuff that I don't really care about, but I know if I stick around or if I fast forward, look through them, I find something of interest. So that's, we just want you to get the most you can out of these conversations. I also want to apologize, I think, or like I was having fun a few weeks ago and relating how much I appreciate that Mike Tyson is a public face of psychedelics, because we still live in, what I believe, particularly in the South, but we still, in the United States, we live in a culture that was founded in racism, period, point blank. There's no getting around that. This country was built on free labor of African slaves after we murdered all the indigenous. And I think personally that it's beautiful that Mike Tyson, who now one of the most vocal proponents of psychedelics, but we had a listener write in and say that they felt that I was perpetuating racist tropes. Certainly not perpetuating them, but definitely acknowledging them and attempting to find humor in them. So, definitely don't want anybody to feel like there's any semblance of racist undertones. In our training for Sanctuary, that is one of the first kind of philosophies that I have been intentionally putting into my work, is that we don't ever talk about races in terms of plural. There is one human race, period. Amen. That's it. And so, I've been, I can't see my bookshelf, but very deeply studied, very deeply Pan-African history and the diaspora, African diaspora, Ethiopian history, and have an enormous respect for Africa and everything that it has brought into our world and will continue to bring into our world. Personally, I believe that Africa is going to be the model of the future after all this dust settles from these warring nations. But anyway, I just wanted to clarify that, because sometimes when you get having too much fun, it can be misinterpreted.
Yeah, I think we touch on this at some point in the episode, as far as like seeing somebody doing their thing and not necessarily understanding the perspective that they're coming from, and how on the topic of fun, like, we're having fun in all different types of ways, and that opportunity presents itself in different ways every single day and looks differently throughout our lifetime. So this is I really enjoyed this conversation with you, and I sure hope that you enjoy it and you like it and you comment, share your perspective. And as this listener that Eric mentioned did, which we so value,
yes,
even when the opinions are, surprising and different to us, that's really important that we hear your perspective. So thank you so much, listener, who submitted that comment. And share this with your friends if you find value in it. I'm sure your friends and loved ones will too.
Have you ever seen the comment that's out there? It's somewhere, I'm pretty sure I know where this comment came from. I think it was made from an IP address outside of the United States, from an old friend of mine who says that we are anti-vaxxers, transphobic, and our podcast is mouth farts. It's the funniest. Yeah, I thought I showed this to you. So even if you leave a comment like that, I'm gonna get a laugh out of it.
Yeah, not exactly one I would like to invite you to make, but
if you leave a comment like that, at least give us 5 stars.
Yeah. If this isn't the podcast for you, you can just like politely walk away.
Yeah. Well, this is actually, I think this is an example of what we talked about in the episode, of when you are vulnerable and you let yourself go to people who are untrustworthy, and then it comes back to bite you in the ass. So
yeah,
gotta laugh at yourself.
It's funny. It's funny. All right, y'all.
All right, enough of our mouth farts. You can go listen to the rest of them.
Enjoy. So what do you think about like New Year's resolutions and that kind of thing?
I think that New Year's resolutions are kind of lame. They usually don't go anywhere.
Yeah. Like the resolution part kind of indicates like, this is it. I'm done.
Determination.
I'm going to do this now.
Yeah. That whole I quit.
Yeah.
You don't quit a damn thing. You didn't quit the damn
You may
thing.
be quitting for like 2 weeks.
Yeah. Well, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just thinking it's an interesting time of year. It's interesting to me that so many people after like January is a big time for wellness. Like everybody knows, like wellness coaches, personal trainers, nutritionists, like everybody's gearing up for New Year's. All those people in that field, they know like that's when their courses are going to sell. It's when their wellness products are going to sell the most.
Everybody's going to get serious.
Everybody's going to get serious after they've been partying their ass off, I guess.
Changing their life. Yeah. I don't know that I've ever known any person, and certainly myself, have never had a New Year's resolution, quote, that I completed, or that anyone has ever said, I said I was going to do this in New Year's and I did exactly what I said I was going to do. I was listening to Vishen, I forget his last name, but the guy that does the Mind Valley stuff. Really been enjoying their work a lot here lately, and encourage everyone to check out Mind Valley's free courses and information on YouTube. Some great stuff out there. Haven't ventured into the paid stuff yet, but maybe soon. But he was talking about how we have goal setting all wrong. And that whenever we have this determination to do something, that we're just setting ourselves up for failure, and that it's really a much lighter approach, a much more playful approach to just creating change in our lives, which makes a lot of sense to me, because whenever I've tried to shift behavior, if I've come at it with a kind of a lighthearted mentality, it was much more effective than when I had this grand determination. So yeah, that's what I would like to bring into my practice as I try to shift different habits and behaviors.
Yeah, that's that feels so right to me. Like when with MTI, with More Than Integration, when I was putting together the copy for that website and really putting together the copy specifically for my coaching page, I started doing that. So this was like a year and a half ago or something. And I started writing out what I had been doing with coaching, which is very goal oriented. And I put that all together in the copy and put it on the webpage, and it just felt so cold. It felt very, like rigid. And it dawned on me that this is not how I want to be holding space for people. Like, let's set a goal and I'm going to hold you accountable, which is how that was a big part of my training as a coach. And then as I felt it out and kind of sat with it and meditated on it, I realized that it's not that visioning and like having something we're moving towards isn't important, like a post and like checking in and accountability is important, but like, like bringing in that like more loose, like flexible, like trusting, more faith-oriented process feels way better.
For sure.
The intention setting.
For
stuff.
sure. Just realized we didn't keep Smokey out of the room.
Oh,
it's okay.
It's fine. We got a lot of dog lovers here, I'm sure. They get it. Maybe it's a comforting sound of some hoofs on the
dog toes rattling on the hardwood.
Yeah.
No, I found the same thing when I was doing or as I've done trip sitting. I think I went into it. I know that I went into it with a much more serious. I can look back at some of the early retreats, and there's one private retreat that I did in particular where, during the session, I was taking notes the whole time of, what he was doing and trying to be very, very serious about it. And, I tried to fit in that box for a while, but it only goes so far with mushrooms because the hilarity, absurdity of it all becomes apparent pretty quickly. And when challenging, deep, painful material does come up, it's very helpful to have some levity as well, applied appropriately. Obviously, it's not something you just like, oh, your mom died last year, but at a certain point, you do want to bring humor into it, to help kind of release that energy, which, that's like, I think a big part of what joyfulness and laughter, there's the age-old saying, laughter is the best medicine. I have come to believe that the truth behind that is so profound on so many different levels that it's not just like feeling good. It's a purging. You are releasing tons of energy that's locked up. Another reason why I think it's so valuable to have comedians that can, bring humor to topics that are otherwise not very funny. Disperse that energy.
Remember that time we tried to have some comedian retreats in Jamaica?
Like with Shane?
Yeah.
We didn't try to. We did.
We did. Okay, we did do it. But but it was just like reflecting on the intentionality that we've had in the past. I mean, that was really you, not me, but that was a really good idea, I think, to bring a comedian on a retreat and just help like lighten the mood in between mushroom sessions.
If there was a career that I could really aspire to, it would be stand-up comedy, honestly. I just think that those people are doing an incredible service to our world, and they are highly undervalued. You know, and we got a few that are, whatever, on pedestals, Dave Chappelle and all that, but man, oh man. But when you bring that up, what I remember is kind of the pushback that came with it as well. There were, not only were there people that came on the retreats who were like, what the fuck is a comedian doing here? I'm here for some serious shit. But there were critics out there in the broader psychedelic world that suggested it was another example of me being irreverent or disrespectful or unsafe in the psychedelic space, which what I have come to believe deeply about the psychedelic space is that those who are bringing real seriousness to it, somberness to it, for one, they don't take enough mushrooms. They don't actually work with the medicine, because if you do work with the medicine long enough, you'll find that it's a fucking big comic show. And I think that indicates a level of insecurity, right? It is overcompensation. It's a false sense of confidence. If you're really confident in what you're doing, then you can fucking crack up and have fun while you're doing it too.
Yeah.
So for me, it's been an indicator that I'm working with people who are actually safer and are more effective in the space. So it's bigger. And again, let's kind of bring it back though to like the big picture of what we're talking about here. We're not just talking about being funny and comedians and being silly in the psychedelic space. The real root of this conversation is our desire to continue improving the quality of our lives, not by setting resolutions per se, but by seeking or seeing a general direction that we're trying to point ourselves in, and reflecting back on the past, seeing how far we've come in places where we maybe haven't made the improvements that we want to, and kind of evaluating that and seeing what we can do better. So this topic actually of being playful and having fun, as much as it sounds like that's just part of my nature, in many ways it is, it's actually something that Courtney and I have talked about a lot over our relationship, that there would be a lot of value in bringing more playfulness into our lives. We tend to be a little serious.
Yeah, I am very serious about having fun now. I'm not messing around anymore with not having fun. I'm done.
I can't get over the image of you on skates, because it's like this thing that looks like it looks like it should be so fun to be gliding through the air and spinning. Yeah, but why does your face look like that all the time?
It doesn't. Yeah. It didn't. You didn't see me ice skating. You don't know.
I've seen pictures and I've seen that.
Well, it depends on the music that's playing and the whole, thematics of the particular thing. There's also plenty of pictures with me like, oh, this is the best. I love ice skating. I really do. It's the intensity of the competition. Like we saw on the Psych Central website, there's different types of play, different personalities for having fun. And I certainly align with, maybe we'll read them off here in a minute. It might be valuable for y'all to hear it, but the different types. But I definitely align with the fun personality of competition and games.
I've noticed.
But I can definitely lose track of the fun part.
Choking our 5-year-old over a bingo game the other day.
Shut up. It wasn't.
It was a headlock. Okay, it was a headlock.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, that's you, Mr. Monopoly. I beat Eric one time in Monopoly. I swear he was pouting for a week.
Right now? You really want to bring that shit up?
See, look, there you go. Already getting upset.
Monopoly.
Okay, so we both share that personality.
You will find out who your friends and your enemies are through Monopoly.
It's not even about that.
And the answer is nobody's your friend in Monopoly.
Yeah. So the different personalities of fun. Should we read
right now? I mean, you can. That's fine.
Yeah. I guess, okay.
Whatever.
Maybe we, what do we do? I'm so indecisive right now.
Just go with the flow, baby. Have fun with it.
Yeah. So the different play personalities. So this is from psychcentral.com. There's a researcher, Dr. Brown, who founded the National Institute for Play, which, by the way, that sounds like a pretty great gig.
The NIP, the NIP.
The NIP, the nippy. Getting nippy. It's with Dr. Brown. Wow. So he found there's 8 different types of play personalities. 1, the collector. You enjoy building collections like stamps or cars.
Or snakes.
Or snakes. Or plants.
Or plants. Or books.
2, the competitor. You enjoy playing and winning games with specific rules like soccer, other sports, chess, stuff like that. 3, the creator or artist. You find joy in making things or making things work. You like doodling, woodworking, decorating, fixing machinery, or sewing. 4, the director. Looking at you over there. You enjoy planning and directing. Like
interpreted in
many ways. Yeah. Like hosting themed birthday parties. Yeah, that's not you. That's more of me. Yeah. I like we're having a secret Santa party or a dirty Santa party on Sunday. Mm-hmm. 5, the explorer. You play by discovering something new, either physically, a new place, or mentally. You might play by going on vacation to a new place or discovering a new type of music.
Or taking high doses of psilocybin.
Yeah. Regularly engaging in psychedelics.
I really realize, man, like I have not, I want to take more mushrooms again. It's been a long time since I was taking a lot of mushrooms, and it kind of has hit me. I think the subtle sacrament that we've been doing, here's our little subtle sacrament, has been just reminding me how much I love digging into that space. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry, I'm getting off on a little tangent there, but yeah,
we got a recipe in the link in the bio here to our subtle sacrament.
I'm thinking of recipe. The last time I did like a 15-gram dose, and man, I was in Jamaica, and there was this point somehow I crawled my arms up on the railing, and it was like just immersed in everything. I was everything, and this big, the trucks are in Jamaica. There was one in the distance, and like when it went by, something in me my body just contorted, and I was like, and it was like I was the truck, and it just like I just felt my face melting into the railing and just giving over to it, and oh boy, it is. I love it. I don't know. Yeah. I want a space where I can get a little privacy and just.
Yeah, you're gonna need privacy with that face, Connor. If you could just like cut that again, replay it, make a close up of Eric's truck face, like vibrate. That'd be great.
That was an incredible day. Oh my God! Every time.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Oh, it was so great. Anyway, go ahead. What other kinds of play do we have besides the explorer? That was the one I got off on the tangent on.
Can you tell me like mushrooms?
Yeah, baby. Even our tree, like our little mushroom tree. Those of you who are watching on YouTube.
So, play type number 6, the Joker. You enjoy being silly and foolish. You might enjoy improv theater or making your friends laugh. 7, the kinesthete. Kinesthete. Mm-hmm. You enjoy moving your body as play. You might practice yoga or take a dance class for fun. The storyteller is the last one. You play by listening or creating stories. You might enjoy going to the theater or writing in a journal. So, yeah.
Writing in a journal as play? I guess. I mean, who am I to say? Yeah. I have all of them in me to a certain extent. Definitely the creative is the dominant, and then probably like the joker or the explorer. But yeah, they're all present. But anyway, like it comes back to how do we incorporate this more into our lives, and why? Why do we want to? I get a lot of resistance still. Like we were in one of our sanctuary circles a few weeks back and was talking about just like having more fun with life. And I couldn't believe how many people were like, oh, fun. Well, that's just, you shouldn't be chasing fun. You shouldn't be trying to have fun with your life. You're supposed to just go with the flow instead of, hold the fuck on. So I do want to distinguish. I think there is a importance in separating out chasing experience, right? Like that adrenaline rush chasing, or like drug highs per se. Like even with mushrooms, I don't ever feel like I'm chasing an experience. I don't want to necessarily go back and recreate that experience that I had, and I want to value each one for the enjoyment that they are. But that's the thing, is like I want to enjoy it all. And I kind of think that's like when we talk about what the meaning in life or the purpose to life, that's what I've come back to over and over again, that the purpose of life is to just enjoy it. Like that's what we're here to do, is to enjoy the ride.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hadn't yet thought of the resistance to play as being similar to the resistance to psychedelics yet, but they do seem very intertwined. Like people thinking we're still in this era and we have a long way to go of education around psychedelics, and when worked with intentionally, they can be and often are life-changing. And it seems like that is oftentimes a big part of the psychedelic experience, is letting go and just like shaking off stored trauma in our tissues and like smiling and like feeling ourselves and just feeling plants and like, oh my God, I'm alive. Yeah. That experience of, whoa, like I forgot why I was here. Whoa, like this is, here it is. We're here to enjoy this. I mean, it's definitely not always like that. But that can be oftentimes an experience with mushrooms. And so like play, maybe it's intentional play, like it's that.
I don't know. I mean, that's what the intentional fun. And I don't know why fun and play and enjoyment seem to have such different connotations for some people. But that intentional fun is what people were most resistant to. Like, no, if you're trying to have fun, then you're not going with the flow. You're like chasing a high or something like that. And I don't know. I mean, everybody's got their own perspective, and that's all well and good. But I definitely want to try and have more fun with my life. I grew up in such a serious, I was fucking 30 years old by the time I was 16, Like I was running construction crews of 40-year-old men when I was 16 years old. And I didn't get a childhood in a lot of ways, so I want to re-embrace that. I want to, and another part of this conversation that we've been having outside of this recording about this topic is creating a new self, like seeing yourself in the past in a different way, right? Because that's one of the things that we do is we look at our past and we identify our now by how we've defined our past. And then our future is, invariably an outcome of the now that we are. And so we can consciously go back into our past and reframe it and experience it in a different way that can help us in the moment become a different person. And then that obviously impacting the future. So, if I can look back at my life and I can find plenty of times, especially since mushrooms have really opened me up to the value of playfulness and joy, when I have been more playful. And I know even in this moment when I'm not being real deep with it, I can feel a lightening and feel a shift in my own experience of myself when I remember myself as playful.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. There's a handful of things that just came up for me as you were talking that I want to share. One is the woman on Mind Valley, Reagan. I'm forgetting her last name.
Hilya.
We'll link that talk in the show notes here. She gave an amazing talk on Mind Valley, which is on their YouTube channel. And it was all about creating a life that you love. And she had this great metaphor around kind of like what you just said, where we are oftentimes living in the past and thinking that it's the future. And that we in each moment, it's like if you imagine it kind of like a computer program, like we're like copying and pasting oftentimes what the moments and the thoughts and beliefs that we've had based on experiences in the past. And with intention and like stillness, we can see what we're copying and pasting and choose different things to copy and paste and bring into the future. So kind of like this culmination balance of the past, the present, and the future, instead of just living in one.
And it all exists as one too. That's a big part of what she was talking about. And a lot of these metaphysical teachers and now, science physicists are saying the same thing, that everything exists in now. And that by redefining it now, it becomes a different reality.
Yeah, she had some really interesting thoughts on that. And I've actually not heard anyone since, I don't know who, maybe Alan Watts is maybe the last person I've heard that really hit home on this. Like, speaking of our experience in life as not just now. Like, there is a big movement going on in it's all now. And she had this fresh leading edge approach, which was it's actually not all right now. And that's a really hard perspective for a lot of people to take, because when they dive into right now, there's a lot of people out there who look around in the now and they are feeling horrible, or they're in pain, or they're in a circumstance which they've created, and it's really unpleasant. And it's only through acknowledging that there is a future that will be different. And it exists now, and it also exists. Like, it's going to be different. Things are going to look different. There is a path forward, which I really appreciated that perspective.
Yeah, it's that paradox, of both and, there is, everything is now, and it's also not. Reminded me a lot of what Bashar talks about in terms of all of the timeline possibilities are running together, and that we can moment to moment choose which timeline we want to participate in, even in terms of past events. And that's like, I did this practice last night, and I was telling you about that this morning. I don't know if this is the subject matter is too different from what we're talking about today to really bring it into the conversation. But I noticed how it shifted my energy very, very quickly and brought me to a completely new experience. And so when I look back at myself as this very serious person, I don't know if I ever told you, Jacob's mom used to always call me Mr. Serious. Like I've been called Mr. Serious a lot in my life.
Wow.
Because I have been so serious, But at the same time, I can also look back and see myself as being misunderstood as super serious, or I can look at times when I was actually very playful and identify with that and kind of bring that into my field of being now and create a drastic shift in how I experience the reality or experience right now.
Yeah, it's interesting how we get labeled as something and that can kind of like repeat in our heads, repeating the past. Like, so I was speaking with a professional who is renowned in her field and has been in her career for 30 plus years, 35 years, and really like climbed the corporate ladder and is, top of her game, top of her field. And she was telling me in like a, heart-to-heart conversation that like she looks around and she's like, man, why are like I am the best at what I do. I by far like I know like my niche, and there are a handful of people I could name in the country that know it like I do. Mm-hmm. And yet still I look around and I see people in my organization that I'm a part of that get opportunities that I should get. Like I am so much more qualified.
Are you talking about me and making it sound like someone else?
Yeah, I just like changed your gender and everything to really like disguise. Okay. No, I'm not talking about you. And yeah, like she was telling me like I really stumped. Like this has stumped me for years. Why does this keep happening to where like I should be getting these opportunities and yet these people are. And they're just so beyond not qualified. And they end up coming to me for advice and they're in charge of these projects. And it's like, why aren't I on this project? This doesn't make any sense. And we talked about it for a while. Oops. Get that part out, Connor.
I don't think it made it. I don't think it made it out your mouth enough to be.
Okay. I'm trying not to reveal the identity of this person. It's such a good example, though, I think. So I'm like, well, what is different about these people? Like, what did they do differently than you? And she's like, I mean, I don't know. They're always throwing parties and they're always going out and having fun with other people in the organization and clients. But I mean, that's pretty much it. And I'm like, well, are you doing that? Like, I mean, just like, no, I'm head down in the trenches. I'm like, well, maybe you should be having more parties. Maybe having more fun would actually magnetize more people and more opportunities and all that. So
seems reasonable to me. Yeah.
I mean, who doesn't? I mean, there are people who don't like to be around people who enjoy life for sure. But for the most part, like if you had to choose between that opportunity and that opportunity, and it's like they offer the same benefits, like say like a career, money, insurance, flexibility, whatever. And the people over here and this opportunity just seem like they really enjoy their job more. And this crew over here is like, of course, you're going to pick the one that looks like they're having more fun.
And most people are.
Most people. Yeah. There's exceptions. But so like we started talking about all of this, thinking about New Year's and having some intentions with New Year's and kind of like reflecting on this year and then envisioning our
so this has been something that we've been talking about for a long while, us having more fun in our lives. For me, it's been easier for me to have fun at work because that's where I was allowed to have fun growing up. My dad used to always kind of say that, like, if you're not having fun at work, then why are you doing it or whatever? And that was a valuable
Your dad
lesson.
used to say that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. The only time he was ever goofy was at work.
Wow.
Maybe that's why I endeavored to make my entire life my work so I can bring fun to the rest. Yeah, I don't know. But
wow, I can relate to that.
Yeah, no, it's something that I kind of really, I think we both relate to. And it's a conversation we've been having. So I'd love it if we could look back at our past and kind of evaluate, to what extent we have achieved that goal or moved in that direction, and like what has been helpful to allow us to have more fun. Like if you can think back on times when we've had the most fun, what was the context and what was the intention surrounding it that allowed that,
Yeah. Well, so thinking of fun, like I can see how many people, kind of revisiting this particular subject again, many people might hear or think, oh, like going out and partying more or something like that, like once a week or something like that. That's like a separate event from like a throughout the day type of fun. And because that's how I used to see fun. Like I had to leave behind my projects and the things that were important to me and like do something reckless. Like that's what I used to think fun was. And now I'm seeing and experiencing fun, kind of like you were saying, is more of like an enjoyment, like a bringing in enjoyment to all the things in the day, like doing the dishes,
folding clothes. I fucking love folding clothes.
Folding
so
clothes.
Fun to me, folding clothes. Do you feel like fun was only permitted if you got a certain, like it was a reward for getting a task complete or to reaching a certain point? Did you,
like for me or
for you, did you in the past, have you treated fun or enjoyment, recreation? I mean, recreation is a great word to use in this as well, because within the psychedelic world, it's highly stigmatized and I believe falsely so. But did you perceive recreation to be a reward for accomplishment?
That's a good question. In a lot of ways, yes. Yeah, thinking about like my childhood, I don't know, it's kind of tricky. There were phases to it. I definitely had my big block with fun was school. Like I thought school was like something that I should be serious about, something that I shouldn't enjoy. That it was about getting the grade. And I wasn't going to get the grade without being very serious and stuff. And it wasn't until I started having fun and enjoying studying in college, until I was like a sophomore in college, my whole time of going to school, like seriously, the whole time, even elementary school, I remember feeling like I had to be serious at school. It wasn't until I started enjoying studying and finding ways, creating environments where I enjoyed the process instead of thinking it had to look like this person over here or that person over there. Like I found my place to study and I found like my process and I cultivated environments that I enjoyed and that helped me learn and it helped me do better. Like it helped it be so much easier. Once I found that, like that sweet spot, ooh, I was an amazing student.
Which is exactly what I would argue is the case with the psychedelic experience and the therapeutic application of psychedelics. It's like, who's gonna continue to go back and process pain and trauma if there's no joy in it, if there's no enjoyment to it, but if you can find enjoyment in difficulty, then you're gonna get so much more out of it. I remember the trip that I had when I first started to really enjoy, when I knew that the pain or the intensity that I was experiencing, I knew it was good for me. And I started to just kind of soften into it. And I remember I was leaned up on this fallen log and just sweating and drooling and weeping. And I was having so much fucking fun. This is the best.
Yeah.
I remember there was one
from the outside, it probably didn't look like it.
No. Well, it reminds me of this other experience in Jamaica. I years later, 5 or 7 years later, I'm having just this. It wasn't just me. It was a group of 15 people, and it was a hard fucking trip, man, for everybody. It was a heavy day, and I was just standing on the porch of Blue Marlin looking out, and I was smiling, but I was it was grinding my insides and everything around me, the atmosphere, everything was just, and I was just sitting there smiling. And someone looked at me. I forgot. I don't remember who it was. It was a woman looked at me and said, "Well, I'm glad you're having fun anyway." And I was like, this may look like fun, and I'm enjoying it, but it's real fucking hard, But that has helped me to get so much more out of it. And I know that as I've worked with people and helping them understand that same application, that it's helped them get more out of it as well. So anyway, sorry to go off on a tangent there. I just really enjoy this topic, and it's bringing up a lot of reflection for me in trips that I've had where that razor's edge of difficulty and enjoyment are right there side by side.
Yeah, no, I feel like that's such a great perspective. It brings up for me when you see somebody who is really successful, I'm thinking of Gary Vee, for instance, somebody like him who he talks about working nonstop. And you see that, you see somebody like that, and you're like, why would you ever do that? Why is that?
I'm gonna blast you, fuck.
Yeah.
Go check out Gary Vee if you don't know who he is.
Yeah, he's great. Yeah. He's clearly having a blast.
You fuck.
That's his personality, but he has a lot of fun with it. Yeah. And just because somebody, from the outside, it may not look to you like your type of fun, right, but to somebody else, it could be really fun the way that, they're doing their thing, depending on their play personality.
All right, so let's get back to our journey with fun and enjoyment.
Yeah. So I'm thinking of this article again that we read, the Psych Central, I think is the website, and how in the study, the Dr. Brown guy, the researcher who was doing it, he brought up, you can see two people playing a game, throwing a football, say, and one person is mindfully intent on enjoying it. They're this is fun. Let's go outside, let's have fun, let's do this. And the other person, you might see them it's the same activity, but one person's having fun and the other person is I don't enjoy this. And it's not necessarily that one person is made for that activity. It's that the mindset of the person who is having fun, that's their mindset. It's not that, the other person just shouldn't be playing football. That's not having fun. It's just that they're not, their mindset is not set up.
Right.
They're not intentional about it. So that's kind of when I think of my new like intention with enjoyment and fun is that like mindset checks. Like, where's my mind at? Where's my head at? On this? Like, sometimes I can get super annoyed with the kids when they want to play with me. And I just like, I'm like, stop wanting to play with me. Like, I'm trying to like get work done or whatever. When it would be like, I could do work and have fun while I'm doing work. And I think they'd be happier with that. It's like they pick up on, the kids pick up on when, even when I'm doing work, it makes such a big difference. If I'm enjoying it and having an attitude of play, then they can play so much better on their own. Because I think they see me playing and it's like, oh, yeah, okay, mom's playing, we can play. When they see me stressed or like tense, they get stressed and tense.
Yeah, very obviously.
Yeah.
And
So
everybody around us does, you know, like we're all always influencing each other. We're always shifting to accommodate the space that we're in, you know, and we can do that by intentionally, consciously influencing the space, or we're unconsciously doing it. It's I want to say work. I want to say it's challenge. It requires, you know, consistent attention to be a conscious influencer of the space that you're in. But it is so valuable and so rewarding. I don't know. I can very easily look back at the times in my life when, very frequently, I mean, I go through waves of them pretty regularly still, where I get sunk into well, this sucks, or this is serious, you know. And I'm grateful that I feel like we do a relatively good job of helping each other balance those times out. But I certainly would like to embody more of the quick reset and like reframing very quickly, which I think is going to be a part of this redefining myself, you know, that we've talked about identity quite a bit. And, you know, I can see times when I have been in a low spot, or where I've had, you know, a few hours of negativity or whatever, and there's an identity that goes along with that. Like, this is how I would respond. And it doesn't have to be that way, because it's not always that way. I also respond lightheartedly. I also just let things roll off my back and know that it's all working out.
I got a new nickname for you.
What's that?
Mr. Lighthearted.
Okay.
Like, because, you know, your ex used to call you Mr. Serious.
Yeah.
When you're not. Okay. Well, if you could come up with a new nickname for yourself, what would it be?
Mr. Funny Pants.
No. Okay, first of all, that's just as many syllables, I think, as Mr. Lighthearted.
I know, that was the joke.
Funny Pants.
I know,
Yeah,
yeah,
three.
yeah,
Okay. Just making sure. Is that really what you want?
No.
Okay, well,
I don't know. We can work.
You better get serious about coming up with a new nickname.
A seriously funny nickname.
But it's so, like, this came up on a retreat recently with some of our members. Somebody just, like, being stuck in this label that somebody gave them. And then, like, when different scenarios would come up, well, that is who I am. Everybody used to say, everybody says, I'm this.
I'm the caretaker. I'm the serious one. I'm the problem solver. I'm the blah, you know.
Well,
we get to be whatever we want to be. We just have to want it enough to embody it.
Yeah.
And, you know, like, yes, we're gonna fall back into old patterns, and, you know, having patience with all that and just accepting it all as it is a big part of the growth and the progress. So, you know, I want to be able to, I do, and I can accept myself and the times when I backslide, and when I do, that's how I get out of it quicker. I come back to, like, okay, now I know who I am. I'm not who you say I am. I am who I say I am.
Yeah. It's
So-
not linear.
No. So again, like looking back at the past and seeing how can you redefine yourself, whereas you've said you're very serious, or we have both said at times we're too serious, right? And I don't know, just like looking back at that, how can you see yourself differently? Think of some times when you weren't. It's so much to do with our definition. And I think that's even the issue at hand when people are, pushing back against having fun because it's being defined as something like snorting coke in their minds. It's like that chasing the high rather than just like being enjoying and having playful in the moment.
The last time I had fun, I ended up in jail.
Whoa.
I'm just thinking of what goes through people's minds when they're thinking of fun trauma.
Well, how do you fun trauma? How do you distinguish for yourself, like when the fun has gone too far?
Wow. I do feel like I could use some more of those experiences. Honestly, it's been a while since I've felt that way.
Oh God, baby.
It's been a long ass time. So I've been like, I think we need to dial it down on the fun.
God, yeah, we need to have some more fun.
Yeah, I don't even know how to answer that question.
Remember our conversation about LSD when you're like, why do you not enjoy LSD as much as I do? It was kind of like, because it's just so much fun that you're like not able to allow yourself.
There's a limit of fun that I see myself, like, sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm really reaching the limit on fun here.
You know what I enjoy the most about MDMA?
What?
It's your face when you are you're smiling and your eyes are so wide and you're just like, this is so amazing. That's my favorite part.
Yeah.
That's whenever I think about, like, that's why I want to have those experiences over, because I want to see that on your face more. I want to experience that more. And it's been, I do feel like I have been able to incorporate those experiences into my life. Would like to do it a little more so. But yeah, we need to have dangerously too much fun soon.
Yeah, I'd be up for that. Maybe on New Year's. This is the New Year's episode.
Yeah.
So maybe that could happen.
I feel like we're going to have to make our fun for New Year's because it's like, looks like nothing's happening around Louisville.
Well, maybe if we just retune, we like trust that we're going to have a blast, then like we'll find where the fun's at.
Yeah. Well, we'll be where the fun's at.
That's right. Yeah, we'll magnetize. Just be the aura of fun.
The whirlpool of fun.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like oftentimes whenever I'm assessing like a direction, I'm like, is this something I want to do? Is this, whether it's like an opportunity for work or an opportunity for extracurricular activity or whatever, I'm like, is this contributing to my like fundamental values in life? Is this actually like watering those values? Because whatever feeds into those values, which is like family, autonomy, health, like physical health, mental health, creativity, whatever is positively contributing to that and building that up, then like, yeah, that's a good direction for me to take. If I'm like, whatever, on the fence about something and I'm not sure if it's like a block or
so how does that relate to enjoyment or playfulness?
Well, I guess you asked me like, how do I know when to pump the brakes on having too much fun? And I guess that came up for me, like, and also in general, like, I don't know, for people who are listening to this and they may be thinking like having fun is potentially like a negative thing. All those people who spoke up at Sunday service, like,
or, well, like you said about you find yourself in jail or something, but like fun doesn't mean necessarily vandalism.
right.
Like
I know.
illegal activity or
right. But that's what we're talking about is like, there's associations with fun. And like, even when I said like, wow, it's been a long time since I've had that level of fun. And I'm like, I wouldn't mind going there again. And then you're like, yeah. And then you like double down on it. And I was like, whoa, wait, you're talking like this is serious now. Like we need to like actually have that level of fun. And now I'm like, that sounds dangerous. I don't want to do that. That sounds risky. That sounds like I don't want to do anything that's gonna like mess up my life.
no,
you know,
for sure. That's certainly important to consider. And I think when drugs are involved, that is relevant. I mean, like LSD is something that I probably can't really take high doses of LSD and go to a club or something, or maybe a club, but it's more like being on the street because I will just be like a fucking wild animal, climbing trees and God knows what.
Yeah, you need to be in like a safe,
so
private
much fun.
property, probably.
Yeah, that's interesting though. That like our society, like what are our containers for fun, enjoyment, and alcohol is kind of the container that we have, which is so fucking crazy. Like you can do about anything on alcohol, and people are like, "Oh yeah, he was drunk," But if you I don't know. I think if psychedelics, particularly in the mix, the people are. It's like, oh my God, he's being crazy because he's on some kind of crazy drug.
Yeah, he's one of those people, crazy people.
Do you think that our society is becoming? I think we're becoming a lot less fun. Like the cancel culture and the super sensitivity and like all that. It's like, fucking lighten up, y'all. Lighten up. Everybody just, nobody's getting out of this thing alive. We're taking all of our shit way too seriously.
Yeah.
A lot of our stuff.
Yeah. It seems like, I mean, I didn't live, I wasn't alive 40, 50 years ago. So like in adulthood. So I don't really know what times were like then, but it definitely seems like you could, I don't know, things were probably a lot less fun in a lot of ways. I mean, as a woman, I couldn't even get a loan without a man signing off on it. Yeah. And that was 30 years ago.
We tried to watch some Eddie Murphy a couple years back. We sat down and tried to watch Raw because Courtney never seen it. I was like, oh, this would be funny. It was so not funny. It was atrocious, honestly. I was like, oh my God.
I'm so uncomfortable right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a perception too. Like it's probably not true that life is less fun now.
Yeah, probably not. No.
Yeah.
So what's we gonna do? How are we gonna envision? What's our future gonna look like, or what's our now gonna look like that then informs the future, so that we can have more enjoyment in 2023?
I envision myself. It's important to recognize like what's unique to us in our process of doing things.
Kind of like the 8 types of fun.
Yeah, 8 types of fun personalities, right, or whatever. Because like I think for me, there needs to be an element of like if I'm going to say I'm going to do something more, then I need to make sure that there's that personality kind of built into whatever I say I'm going to do. So like, for instance, I feel really called to meditate more, but I know me. I know me better than anyone else. And I know that if I just say I'm going to meditate once a week or every morning or whatever, I'll do it for a week. And then I'll find reasons to not do it anymore. It'll fade off. So I need to add that like element of me, that driving force, something that really does incentivize me to do things. And for me, that is, if I feel like it's an investment, I can clearly, like tangibly see and feel that this is an investment for my family, for like financially, and I'm feeling productive from doing it, like pretty immediately afterwards or during, then I'm going to do it. Like if I can clearly see that, boom, I'm doing it. But if I just feel like, oh, it's something that's like, self-care, no, I won't. I just won't. I know me. So for me, like recording meditations, like I've recorded a few meditations, one around this topic, reframing a situation in our lives. If I do that more, if I say like, hey everybody, I'm recording meditation, new meditation every week comes out like on our channel, that is going to be the only way I want to consistently meditate, is if I'm leading the meditation and then like editing it, listening back, and meditating to my own voice. So that is something that I want to do, like just get still more, like carve out time to just go in a room, be with me.
So meditation can be fun as long as it's productive.
Yes, like I'm being realistic here. I feel like that's really important.
Yeah, I agree. I guess I wonder though in other aspects of your life, because then like just think about New Year's Eve. Like what's it going to contribute to your goals to just go out and have fun? And then how are you going to allow yourself to, if it's not contributing to a definable goal? Yeah.
Well, that's more of a New Year's Eve type of fun. Is, I don't know. Is that a level of fun I want to have regularly? Like,
I do.
Yeah.
I want to regularly have like belly laughs and like absurdity and amazement and wonder. And I don't want it to be tied to an outcome. I feel like having it tied to an outcome, like it takes a lot of fun out of it, And I mean, that's something that I have been really guilty of in my life, is being so outcome driven that it takes the fun out of fucking so much, like relationships and work. And like, it's just like, if it has to be a certain thing or it has to contribute to a certain outcome, then like where's the opening for randomness, and where's the opening for spontaneity? And you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. I feel like that's definitely a block for me, is that I am open to like letting go of that and saying yes to more opportunities for that. I feel like with kids and like that element of like the logistics that go into that, I guess that's kind of a block for me. And I know many parents and honestly, like particularly mothers who have the energetic weight of like taking care of the kids and making the plans, and that mostly falls on moms or moms mostly. Yeah, it's, I mean, for little kids, little kids. Yeah.
Play dates.
I don't feel like
that kind of
that's
stuff.
Yeah, I feel like that's a realistic thing to say. It's not always.
No,
it's definitely not always. I
agree. And I don't know. I can go off on a tangent about what male responsibilities or all that kind of role is, but
yeah. So I would like to have more of that fun. Like as our daughter is getting older and it's getting easier to find care for her and feel like we can be out longer and like it's just easier to drop her off and stuff. It's getting easier to like make that kind of thing happen. So
can we reflect on your masturbation practice
Yeah,
that episode is performing quite well also. So if you're new to the show and you haven't heard Courtney's pleasure conversation,
it's one for me to revisit. I've, gotten a little off track with that, but for good reason, man. The flu, and I'm sorry, but there was like this sequence of shitty events.
It was hard to have fun for a couple weeks there. We were not enjoying most of our days.
Yeah, it would be like probably disturbing to go into the level of detail that we went through.
It is relevant though to acknowledge that, it's in balance and there are waves and there are very difficult periods of life. And you do what you can to enjoy those periods, but sometimes they just are real fucking tough, just like we're talking about the trips. But anyway, I'm seriously asking if reflecting on that conversation and that period, that was leading up to all the sick kids and everything, where you were embracing pleasure for the sake of pleasure is something that could be applied to this perspective here. And I think that this is something for, again, you bring up moms. I suspect that there are a lot of moms for whom pleasure for the sake of pleasure is just not part of their equation.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Even moms for sure. And then even just not moms, like just women and humans in general. Okay. But like, we won't go into a whole gender conversation here. But as a society, we're just like, it can be tough to like let go. I mean, that's why I feel like alcohol is like, it's a pandemic. It's like, it's a serious situation right now where it's like we've forgotten how to just let go. And so many of us are in this pattern of like, throwing back some like toxic material on a regular basis to just like allow our bodies to just relax. And so, I mean, I feel like at this point in my life, this is the most like healthfully relaxed and like going with the flow that I have ever been.
I would agree with that I've seen. Yeah.
Like with the level of responsibilities that we have right now and like our expanded family and I feel like for the most part, a lot of stuff, I do allow it to just kind of roll off. Things that would in the past have been extreme stressors for me, that would have been really hard for me to like take with a grain of salt or just let go of. I feel like I do pretty well overall.
You didn't even seem to care at all about me robbing the liquor store a couple
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying.
Didn't catch me either. Really laid back about that.
And there's a backstory to our stolen car.
Oh yeah,
well, really?
We didn't even. We'll save that for the intro when we. I do want to like update everybody to know that our car was used in a drive-by.
Oh, don't worry, we got a vlog coming. Yeah. We got a vlog coming all about our stolen car.
We're having fun with our stolen car.
Yeah. Right. So that's what I'm saying. But so what about what about you? Like, what's your like looking forward if you were to envision like an ideal 2023, like zooming out, like what kind of enjoyment? What's that looking like for you?
Well, I want to practice and embody that inner smile more. And I think that leading meditations around that could be very helpful, but just really applying that in my daily life and just smiling into everything, like whatever comes up, because we've seen over and over and over that whatever comes up, we work through it, we get through it, and it just like the car, just like so many things, like it ends up being better for us, and so I want to maintain that perspective where I know, I want to embody that perspective, that knowing that God or the universe or whatever we want to call it is on my side and is working in my favor. And so walking through with that kind of relaxed, playful confidence is a big part of it. More community, more people in my life who are, getting things done, making an impact, but having fun while they do it. And I mean like authentically having fun.
Yeah.
You know how when some people are putting on a show and then, I don't fucking want that. I don't want beer. I don't want it. I want the real deal, enjoying whatever it is.
Enjoying the process.
And I want to have a lot more sex with you. That's big. Which means we won't be doing anything else.
Yeah. I'm like, okay. A lot more sex.
30% more.
Okay. All right. I'm open to that.
Or maybe it could just look different.
I would love to, while we're envisioning 2023, if we could just have a little vision board moment here.
Yeah.
Could we have a vision board
I'm seeing
moment?
you naked rolling around in gold coins.
Whoa. That sounds a little cold and uncomfortable.
But heated.
Heated, yeah. Tropical environment, maybe.
Just because, the American dollar is going to shit. So,
that's right. Ethical gold.
Ethical gold.
That's right. Me naked, rolling around in ethical gold. That sounds great. So traveling. I want to travel and visit people, like our members. We have members with Sanctuary in over 40 states. I want to be visiting y'all. I want to be, I don't know how, I don't know what that looks like, but I want to pick up our kids and I want to see new places and experience other people's.
Yeah, engaging with our audience really appeals to me more. We've been getting a lot of people messaging lately. I've had quite a few messages come in on LinkedIn and different platforms, people saying how much they really value our podcast. And I really value the engagement and the community that's growing out of Sanctuary and Psilocybin Says. And so to really, be more immersed in that sounds really wonderful.
Mm-hmm. That does sound really good. What else?
Creating informative, educational, playful content, that's something that I do believe that the psychedelic world is sorely missing, and where I think we are far ahead of the curve is that most people are still very much in this dour, therapeutic, gotta work through the trauma, kind of psychedelics are potential risk and you gotta do all this safeguard and all that's. There's truth in all that, but the greatest safety net I really believe is, this playfulness that's brought to the table.
Ooh, sacred playfulness.
Yeah.
Sacred fun.
Yeah. I mean, indigenous cultures had the, what do they call it? The sacred clown, I think is what it was called, where there was always this, not always, and it wasn't every culture, and I don't overgeneralize. I'm going to get fucking bent out of shape out there and call me a racist. I don't know. But, there were definitely cultures that had this sacred clown that would come in at maybe the most solemn moments and bust a big fart or something. Oh, there's a Native American. I read some Native American folklore that they had a whole genre that was called, it was coprophilic or something like that, where it was centered around feces, and they had legends and stories. I remember this one about the coyote who, I forgot what it was exactly, but he kept defecating so much that he ended up on a giant mountain of his own feces. And
wow. And all the elders sat around and slapped their knees and laughed.
Look at kids. Our daughter's not even 2 and she fucking laughs at her own farts.
Well, it's kind of that is such a big intention. I feel like more and more so that we are cultivating with Psilocybin Says, and the content that we produce is talking about things that we're all tensed up about, kind of like a comedian. Let's just talk about it, and we'll talk about it, and then we'll laugh about it.
Highly necessary. Or get pissed off and leave. That's fine. If you do, then this isn't the place for you.
Yeah, definitely not. Because we'd be talking about pretty much everything here.
Yeah. I mean, that last episode, I can't believe you got me to talk about
Oh, yeah.
the things you got me to talk about. Oh.
Well, I think we recorded that, but that has that one come out yet? Oh, it has. No, it hasn't. That's the one that's.
No, it hasn't, but it will precede this episode.
Oh, that's right. That's right. The concept calendar.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. So anyway, I just want to, and I want more spontaneity. That is probably the biggest thing that I don't have in my life is spontaneity. Everything is pretty planned out, and there's certainly a place for that. But I love what Bashar teaches about following whatever in the immediate moment, whatever choice is filled with more excitement. Mm-hmm. And I know that's a word that people are going to freak out on. Excitement. Oh, sounds
Don't get too excited.
Like fun. But think about it. Every choice you have, if you're sitting in your couch and you're like, okay, I want this or this. I want to eat this or that or whatever the fuck it is. Like there is a little edge of interest or curiosity or a little spark, and following whatever has the most of that energy to it is actually going to be more productive. It's going to lead you to greater opportunities. It's going to lead you to more rich experiences because there is something in our being that is compelling us to choose that over the other. It's inspiration. We discredit our inspiration. We dampen it. We go sit in a cubicle. We go work in an office. And we go sit at the computer and do whatever, like everybody does at times.
Yeah.
And I want to do less of that and more of following whatever is the immediate excitement.
I feel like I want to follow that more as well and share my perspective more. I feel like I've throughout my life just kind of leaned on other people to share their thoughts, and because of this idea that mine aren't as important as other people, and recording this podcast now this is like the 84th episode or something like that. And this has been a tremendous growth period for me. So thank you so much for encouraging me to do this, because I was really resistant at first.
And I was insistent.
And you were insistent. You kept saying like, no, people want to hear your perspective. And I'm like, really? They do? And it seems like people do value my perspective more and more. I'm hearing that, and it's reinforcing that my perspective is important and valued. And so thank you to everybody who's let me know that. I really appreciate that. And it's helping me a lot. And I want to continue on this path of seeing that in myself, seeing my value and sharing my perspective in different ways, and being playful with it, like with the vlogs that we're starting to do. That's really fun for me and a fun way to voice and share my life with you and our family and community.
I had a visual recently of that in a different way, but of like you being really loved and supported, and like just being this having your value reinforced by seeing valuable people love you and lift you up, and me being one of those people. That is, it makes my heart sing.
I love that. Thank you for welcoming in that visual. That feels really good. Feels really good to have that visual for you.
Yeah,
too.
well, and I guess that's the thing too that it ultimately comes to, because in this vision, it morphed into that, because you don't nobody should have the monopoly on the pedestal, right? Everybody deserves a turn at the pedestal. Everyone deserves to be highlighted and held up and showed how beautiful and how much they bring to this world. And I did know that in, doing this podcast with you and really insisting that you be front facing with Sanctuary and all that, I knew that in a way eventually that would help to lift me up. That wasn't the intention, but you just know that when you uplift other people that you're going to get uplifted as well.
Yeah.
And so it's a beautiful cycle, and it's beautiful to be a part of. And that's another thing when I think about what I would like to do. I want to lift people up more. I want to lift people up more. I love that I have a little bit of a platform, and not so much for me as much as it is that I want to help highlight other people. Mm-hmm.
I love that. That sounds really good.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of people we know that are really incredible human beings that if they just had a little bit of just a little hand up, you think back on, and I was talking with Charles Lazarus this morning, just chatting a little bit. Another great episode. Check back on the owls are not what they seem. But recognizing that in my past, I have attempted to lift up those who are not attempting to lift themselves. And so I have been and will be putting much more of a focus on the people that I see that they're already doing it, and they just maybe could benefit from a little bit more encouragement and support.
Yeah.
That feels good. That's so fucking fun. And it took some time, you didn't realize it until, particularly in Jamaica, with the farm, and there was some stuff at the retreats that definitely showed up, but Kevin at the farm, seeing someone go from very little worldly experience and knowledge and education and whatnot, and then to see them learn to grow mushrooms and eat mushrooms, and I saw it much more with the Jamaicans that we worked with, because it wasn't so novel to the Americans who had much more opportunities already. But man, that is some of the greatest joy. That's some of the most fun that I've ever had, is in helping people who were, they had the desire, they had the drive, they had it in them. Mm-hmm. They didn't have the opportunity, and then giving a little bit of opportunity and watching those people run with it. Mm-hmm. I fucking love that.
Yeah. For me, more collaboration sounds really good with people that are already doing it, mm-hmm. that are already feeling their purpose mm-hmm. and on fire about it. That sounds really good. Collaborating more with those people in a work environment and in a play environment. Mm. I feel like that is one of my...
That opens a big topic, though.
One of the... Yeah, it does. But one of the blocks that I have with play and celebration is trusting people, and that whole letting myself go with people is that is something I feel is important to recognize, that as I cultivate more relationships with people who know themselves more and have similar values as me and are on a mission to do something, and we're kind of in a similar place in life, I feel it will be so much easier for me to let go with people that are on kind of a similar path.
I love that you bring that up, though, and I think I would love to kind of dig into this just a little bit. We're just over an hour right now, just for a time check on you. So, because that's actually, I have found that to be quite relevant and has had a pretty significant impact on my ability to open up and play, because it is an expression of vulnerability. especially for adults, but like to watch kids, but like, no, it's like really like, it's really vulnerable to just let your guard down, talk about whatever it is that's you're feeling, you're experiencing, you're seeing, you're wanting, whatever. And then to have that used against you, it hurts so much and it's traumatizing. And I know that it has limited me in the last couple of years, just because I have seen myself thrown back at me as a weapon, when I have been vulnerable and been playful. So I don't know. How do you work with that?
Good question. I feel like it comes back to refocusing on the people who light your candle, the people who see your light and appreciate your playfulness and appreciate you being you. And that can be challenging to do when maybe you haven't had a lot of that in your life. It's tough for me sometimes, for sure, looking around and I'm like, man, is anybody seeing me, like, and loving me for me right now? And when we're feeling low, it can be challenging to channel that. But I think like all of us have had somebody, even if it was just for a moment in time, everybody has had somebody that's seen and appreciated them. And like, if I can remember that when I'm feeling low and feeling like where are my people at, that there are a lot of people out there that would love to spend time with me and would, like, my perspective would be so appreciated by them and enjoyed. And by just remembering the various times in my life, lots of times in my life where people have been like, thank you. Like, and like wanted to be with me and celebrate with me, then I feel like it's easier to like welcome in those people again. I don't know. What do you think?
I think that in this whole conversation, that's the most resistance that I've encountered, because there were people who I loved and cared about greatly, and who I felt like we were on the same page, and I started playing more with them, and then it was used against me, and completely misrepresented. And it's even like, it's easy to think about, because this topic is so much of what that whole psychedelics today and them trying to discredit my work and other people trying to discredit my work was so much centered around me just being playful in the mushroom space, right? And it's easy to say with that set of people, like, fuck off. I don't even get, like, you don't fucking get it. You may have had a negative impact on my career and all that, and it's very real. But I could have much easier, much quickly come to the place where I'm at right now and laugh at you fuckers who are so serious and so, like, whatever. It's just a false sense of security. But when it comes to people that I really care about and people that I really invested heart in, to have them then turn my playfulness against me, out of what seems like, insecurity, it's actually made it, wow, it's like I didn't really realize how much that has impacted my ability to really, like, explore me and what I want to do with my moment and how I want to. I have become much more reserved in some of my engagement with people who would otherwise be close friends, and I don't know, like, there's a balance of wanting to, like, let people in at the right time, but this is like the thing that has been for me an ongoing and a theme, is that sense of when I fully let go and open up, that I'm too much. And I still very much have that fear. And I feel like, God, wow. Sometimes I feel like the only time when people can really handle me is if they're blasted open by some kind of substance. Because I feel like Eric, without any substance and fully open to who he is very. It's a few steps beyond what most people are. Because I do, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like I have, through my experiences with psychedelics, through my personal just drive to just discover who I am most authentically, that has in many ways separated me from a lot of people.
Well, that interview that you sent me with that, gosh, I'm blanking on her name now. The woman who, she's got a YouTube channel and her whole thing is like sovereignty, and she was interviewed on that, like what do you call it? Kind of like a new agey type of channel. Yeah,
she was a spiritualist that was channeling and that kind of stuff. Talking to, wasn't she the one that was talking to like dead people and all that kind of stuff?
No, this woman, she's an entrepreneur, and like in the interview, she was saying like she's somebody who's got like 3 million YouTube subscribers, like an insane amount, like top tier. And she was saying in the interview, like, I had this moment in my career, like very kind of recently, like a year and a half ago, where one of my followers said in a video, you're like, it's a little sad. You're alone like all the time in your videos. Like, do you have any friends? And she's like, I got really mad about that comment and upset and defensive. And then I realized, holy shit, like
it's true.
I am alone. Like I don't have friends. And then it set her on this path of like of really shifting the way she was living and inviting people in more, and then going a little too far with it, like trusting people that didn't have like the capacity to handle her and her approach to life. And she just kind of touched on that. Like it can feel really lonely at the top. Like when you're somebody who has that level of drive and is seeking like the perspective, the level of perspective in which like people who like you are seeking, like it can feel really lonely there. So I don't know, like I keep envisioning you and me, because I deal with that too. And since I was little, I felt that way. Like people don't get it. Like with ice skating, my level of drive was so far beyond what my peers, most of my peers was. I feel like nobody could understand me.
And your level of authenticity and curiosity as well.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's evolved into that now. And so I keep envisioning and like I'm trusting that like as we keep coming back to this together, particularly this vision of coming together with other people that are similarly like in this playing field of authenticity and drive, and that combination of things, then like we'll form more of like a community that we can let go more with.
I'm going to be 45 years old in 23.
Yeah.
Like
you're young.
I'm very seriously starting to look at my life like, okay, like it's time to get serious. It's time to get real here, and And it's not to say that I don't have good friends around me. There definitely are. But not nearly as many as that have shed off, when they become uncomfortable with that.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's another thing too. Like in that interview that I just mentioned, she was saying like, I thought it was important to have a lot of friends. And then I'm feeling the importance of having like a handful of really good friends that we show up for each other. Because in reality, there's only a certain level of bandwidth that each of us has.
No, it's science. There's some kind of study that's shown like you can only keep 1,000 people in your sphere. That's the max for any human being is 1,000 people. Like that's the max.
Okay.
And that's not close friends. That's just like 1,000 people that you can know.
Yeah, okay, just like generally know, acquaintance. Yeah,
you can.
Right.
I don't know what the capacity is for like an inner circle, but I do like this is kind of coming back to our vision with Sanctuary, and our more long-term vision is cultivating a community that is tuned in, tapped into each other, and grows together, which takes time. That's not an overnight thing. You can't just announce you have a community and then it's boom, it's there. It's like I feel like I've been on 20-some years trying to build this community, and I don't want to I'm not going to fall into a justification of why I feel what I feel, because like you can on a dime things can shift. And so anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm like, just revisiting that vision. And it's not it's a huge endeavor. It's huge. There's how many communities like the one that we're envisioning exist?
0.
So it is something that like checking ourselves on and just understanding that like it's been something that you've been working towards for a while, and it's taken a seemingly pretty drastic shift, like from Jamaica back here, and like the foundation of it feels pretty different to me.
Oh yeah.
But it's not something that's going to happen overnight, as in 5 years even. Or 10 years. This is something that like takes time and trust and like stigmas and paradigm shifts of many people. And so this is kind of like what I envision to be more of like setting ourselves up for like the end of our life, like in that way.
Yeah.
And like for our children, because we are in a time where like we don't, because of technology, which is a miraculous, wonderful thing in so many ways, we're also so separated from needing people in the way that we used to. And we're finding the balance and getting back to that. But like we're eternal beings. So like this is kind of a lifelong thing. Like you're not like you are 45 or you will be whatever, but you're also not.
Thank
like
you
got forever.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
It's true. No, that is a very helpful realization, and brings me back to it's okay to play, because it's never going to get done, and that's it. So have fun with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely really curious for the people that have made it all the way through to this episode. Like what is your relationship with play? Is that a part of your vision of growth for next year, for 2023? And like, if not, like what is? Share your New Year's intentions with us.
How are you going to go about it other than through a resolution? Like, how are you going to embody that which you desire to be?
Yeah. I'm very curious what your thoughts are.
Thank you all for listening so much. Really, again, just really appreciate the feedback, the community that's building around this, and so happy to be where we are in this strange journey.
Yeah, the strange eternal journey.
Mm-hmm.
So while you're on that strange eternal journey, if you made it all the way to the end,
You better go leave a motherfucking review.
yeah,
A good one.
Please leave a review.
A good
Please
one.
comment. Please like this episode. I forget sometimes, like when I'm listening to episodes on YouTube,
I be liking shit if they do a good job. I like it.
I do way more now, but reflecting on the past, like I would just kind of like sometimes binge watch episodes and not like them, just out of not thinking. But it really does help us a lot. It helps the algorithm when you like our stuff. So if you could just give that a little bit of a like.
What's behind that is if you think that this is valuable and you want more people to get access or to see it in their feed, then engaging with it even just a little bit goes a long way.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, and look forward to chatting with you in 23.
Oh yeah.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.